Welcome to Orlando North, Seminole County's Game On Series College Football Edition. Today we're going to discuss all the hottest topics. College football, we know, is a couple short weeks away, and there's no better panelists to have discussing everything that's going on, from conference champions and NIL, conference realignment, even esports, than our two panelists here, Barry Cofield, Super Bowl champ, Wildcat alum, and D1 Orlando business owner. And then to my left, starting UCF running back, hopefully he'll be a Doak Walker finalist, if not champ this year, we'll see, Isaiah Bowser. Also, we don't hold it against him, former Northwestern Wildcat as well. But welcome, Barry. Welcome, Isaiah. We're right here at the Huvi Studios, located in beautiful Oviedo Mall. So let's get right to it. Let's jump straight into UCF football. Topic of conversation right now. We know last year had some injuries. We know we had some opportunities that things could have gone either way. Could have been a little different season, but you want to end it on a huge high note, literally taking care of business in the Gasparilla Bowl, taking care of the Gators. Zay, tell me what's going on.
So first of all, I appreciate you having me on the show. It's an honor to be here, but this season for UCF, I'm expecting big things. Last year we were this as well, but like you said, we had a lot of injuries that kind of held us back just a little bit, I would say, last year. But so this season, Coach Malzahn, just like we did last year, we brought in some transfers. So we got more transfers this year in some key positions. We needed some help, as well as we got a lot of returning guys who had a lot of production last year. So we're looking really good going into the season. Right now we have a quarterback battle going on between two really good quarterbacks. I have full confidence in both of those guys. That if they play, like, they're gonna, either one can get the job done. If not, both of them can play. Honestly, in any given game, but. Yeah, so I'm expecting big things from the team. AAC champions is definitely, everybody's expecting that. Everybody on the team's expecting that out of us. Undefeated season as well. I think, the schedule we have, like you say, it's a big schedule for us. I think, we have a good chance to, win every game this season, which would be great like they were in 2017, 2018. I think we can get back to that level this season. So looking forward to it coming up soon.
So, Barry, let me get your perspective, because here, the big trip up last year, it's no doubt. The away game at Louisville. That one there hurt. It still hurts me today. All right, Malik Cunningham, still the QB at Louisville. I feel like it's his 9th year in college. All right, he started for so long. All right, I didn't know Lamar had a little brother that went to Louisville as well. From an outside perspective, what do you see from UCF this year?
I'm really excited about UCF this year. You mentioned Doak for Zay. What about Heisman, man? Let's not put
okay.
Let's not put a ceiling.
Like
let's not put a ceiling on my man here. My Ohio brethren, former Wildcat. He chose warmer and brighter weather down here with UCF, as I did.
Yeah.
I flocked south too, so I do not blame him. I'm really excited about the conference as a whole. A lot of transfers, a lot of big name transfers have come in. Along with the big name coaches that reside in the conference, so it's very exciting. I really like what UCF did last year. I feel like they grew and finished strong.
Yeah.
Finished really strong in that bowl game. I was able to catch a game last year, and that stadium, that stadium they got down there when those fans get to jumping, I feel like the whole building was literally rocking. I don't know how many fans fit in there, but it felt like 100,000. Yeah. So it's just a very exciting environment. When UCF is playing well, the whole city is buzzing. Yeah. That's Orlando's team. We don't have a NFL team here in Orlando, so UCF represents that. So it's just a really exciting time. Last season in the conference also. Yeah. So really going out on a high note will be very exciting. I saw some recruits that came in that excited me. Got the twins from right in my neighborhood from Seminole High School. So a lot of talent, a lot of speed, and I think the sky's the limit for that for the UCF team.
Yeah, so there's a lot of confidence in our locker room, and that's the main thing I say. Especially come off that Florida win. We can beat a really good SEC team. I feel like we can beat pretty much anybody in the country we play against. As well as, like you said, all the transfers we got in, all the other stuff. So the buzz in the locker room is great. Everybody's excited. sometimes there's a lot of tension. Everybody, we're just so ready to, play. So, but, it's a lot of buzz going on, a lot of confidence. We're looking forward to this season. Like I said, we're hoping to shock the world this year. Even though, people sometimes say UCF, has a potential to, do all this. I don't think anybody's really expecting it to happen. So we're just going to really, get to the season so we can show what all the hard work has been.
Us on the outside, we're expecting it, man.
Yeah.
We are.
Maybe here in Orlando.
Sure.
Maybe here in Orlando.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't know if, in Texas, people are really thinking UCF's gonna be good this year. But I think we have a lot of talent, and coaches are great, like you said. A lot of coaches are gonna lead us like they did last year. I know for me, I think it was crazy that they were able to rally us after all the injuries that happened, and new guys had to play who never even played college football before, and we were still able to end the season with 9 wins. So. This season I'm expecting big things, especially for me coming back. I'm more comfortable. I don't have to learn the offense anymore. A lot more comfort for me, so I can even help out the young guys. Really be more of a leader this season as well. You got to make plays. If you're not producing, then we got somebody else that can come in and play for you. So that's always there. But also the relief. Like for me, I'm confident in my ability. I'm gonna go put my best show on every day. So. I know I'm gonna get tired. I'm human, so I know there's times where I'm like last season. I had to push through some times. Maybe we could have had another guy come in, but the confidence wasn't totally there for all the players yet to really go on and perform last year. But this season coming in, and I'm not only talking about the running back room. I'm talking about quarterbacks, receivers. We have a lot of guys who already showed in spring ball, that they can play. They can play some ball now. So it's a relief, and honestly, this is a great feeling. This gives us even more confidence. Going into the season that even if a little injury happens, it's not even like a major one, but out for a game, miss a game or so, we have some guys who can come play and make plays. So
I love it. Yeah. I think we dove into UCF. I think this is pretty much a very strong in-depth analysis right before the preview, right before the season starts. Let's take a dive over here to the ACC. Why don't we? All right, now a couple numbers that I want to throw out here before we start jumping in. That's a little research that I found. Pitt won last year's ACC championship, but before that, you'd have to go all the way back to George Washington not to find a Clemson ACC championship, right? But here's a couple of keys that I see, my perspective, the 2 cents here. No Kenny Pickett or stud wide receiver Jordan Addison. Went to USC, NIL deals. We'll jump to that a little further on in the show. Miami was the runner-up, had 5 losses, turnover with the head coaching and the entire staff, right? We know that. The Atlantic side of the ball, Wake Forest came out as divisional champ, right? 15 returning starters, including Sam Hartman, their quarterback, okay? Here's an interesting piece that I saw. Your top 3 in the Atlantic, Wake Forest, NC State, Clemson. All of them are returning 15-plus starters. Interesting note here. Wake Forest's loss was at Clemson. Clemson's loss was at NC State. NC State's loss was at Wake Forest. Oh, wow. So, my opinion, I think the ACC champ is coming out of the Atlantic. And if I had to go and put my 2 cents in, I say, welcome back, Clemson. Check me out on this pronunciation now. DJ Weon Galile. Huh? QB. DJ's going to come back. I think he's going to have a much better second year. I think Will Shipley, that dynamite running back that they also have over there, I think he'll also contribute. And all will be back to normal in ACC country. What's your take, Barry?
You missed the main point of the Clemson Tigers, man. It's that defensive line. I'm a little biased. I get it. I get it. I think they got multiple first-round picks up front on that D-line, a lot of depth. They started off the season, I forget, they played a tough game last year. They lost like 9-6, first game of the season. And, I think that kind of set the tone for the season. They really struggled to replace Trevor Lawrence and a lot of the talent that they had lost in the draft. Like you said, DJ at quarterback, I expect him to bounce back. I've been watching him since it was a Netflix special that he was on. Same with Sam Hartman. I think they were both from QB1, if I'm not mistaken. Just kids that you've followed for years. And he's just a big, physical, athletically special kid, and I think he'll bounce back. One of the names on the D-line who I've been watching highlights of, he was like a grown man playing with little kids, was Brian Breezy up front. Okay. A monster defensive tackle, a 300-pound guy that runs like a linebacker. And I'm with you. I'm in lockstep with you. I think Clemson will bounce back, win that Atlantic Division, and likely win that championship. On the other half, I like Miami.
Okay.
They got some new faces. Mario Cristobal, he's a great recruiter.
Yeah.
South Florida, that's a part of the
FIU alum.
Yeah,
all right.
Exactly. You know a little
Coach
bit,
Cristobal.
You know a little bit about how rich that talent area, and the Alabamas and the Auburns of the world been coming and stealing kids from South Florida. But I expect Mario to build a force field around that and keep a lot of those kids home. Tyler Van Dyke, their quarterback, is a future first-round pick. He only played like 6 games last year. Didn't play the whole season. Had a ridiculous touchdown to interception ratio, and I think the future's bright for him. So I expect Miami to win that division.
Similar to Barry, I think Miami's a really talented team. They have been for years, obviously. For them, it's about putting it all together, which I think they got a shot this season. Last year they started to pick things up, I'd say. But Pitt is also a team. It's hard to put them back in that championship level just because they lost their 2 first round players. So it's tough to say exactly what's going to happen there at quarterback, especially. But if they can get a reliable guy to come in there, I think they'll be right back in that championship game. And on the other side with Clemson, like you said, those young guys, the quarterback and then the running back, are two guys who can really explosive players who can make some big plays. Obviously, the quarterback didn't have quite the season he wanted last year, but I think he'll bounce back. Kid, really talented guy, and the defense is crazy too. The Brian Bresci, I think you got.
I think it's Breezy. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it, man, but I know it when I see it.
Yeah, that guy. He's probably top 10, maybe 5 pick. He's that good. So, that the D line's always good there. But I think they're gonna be really special this coming year. And my pick could be Clemson to get back in that championship game and get a win. So
now, brought up the SEC, so it's a perfect transition. Let's jump into the SEC here. All right, what I'm saying may be blasphemous because at the end of the day, we're in the South. So I'm actually going to go and say, hey, SEC conference, I think we're looking at basically a rewind of last year with a different result at the end. I think we're looking at 21 champ Georgia, 20 Bama, 2019 LSU smoking Joe Burrow. We know that was lightning in a bottle, absolutely insanity. But then Bama and Georgia again. So when we look at this, the story seems very similar. We know what we're going to get. We know that Georgia has a very tough opening schedule. They're playing an out-of-conference game against Oregon. We know that, again, that can go either way in the beginning. Your first 2 weeks is kind of like the feel-out approach there. We know we got a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback coming back to Alabama. And on top of everything, we have the coolest NCAA name, I would say close NCAA in history, where we got DB named from Alabama, shout out, Kool-Aid McKinstry. That's, I'll tell you right now, everyone, that's definitely my 3rd favorite player this season coming up, of course, after you, Isaiah, and after shout out to Matt Lee, our favorite UCF center. But Kool-Aid McKinstry definitely looking to kind of head up some of that Alabama defense. We know Coach Saban always has them right. So I'm thinking Bama, UGA, run it back, and I think Bryce Young gets it done. I think UGA, too much of a turnover. Yes, they're bringing back their quarterback, but I think this Bryce Young's second breakout year, we can say. What do you think, Zay?
Yeah, it's tough to disagree with that. But if I had to choose, I would definitely put Bama over Georgia this year just because, Georgia had half their defense get drafted in the first round last year. So, it's tough to replace that. I'm not saying their defense won't be good because they're always really good, and I'm sure the guys will next man up will they'll come up and be really good. But it's tough to repeat the defense they had last year. Probably one of the best defenses ever. It's definitely up there. I don't know who else is really better in my generation, obviously, but defense is crazy. So that's tough to replace. I think that was a big reason why they were able to beat Alabama. But also Alabama has some injuries last year. A couple other things, but yeah, I got Alabama winning. I think there's some other talented teams in the SEC too. I think Ole Miss. I think they have some talent there. They had a lot of transfers coming in. Actually, my old roommate went there. Really good player, Jalen Robinson. Really good player. Hate to see it, but he's really good. They got some other good running backs and stuff there. I think they're a talented team. If their quarterback, they got a young quarterback, so if he plays well, I think they could make some noise in the SEC. And I don't know if they'll be a championship level team, but I think they can make some noise there. But yeah, my pick is Alabama and Bryce Young. I think he's one of the top quarterbacks in the nation, so I think he'll get it done.
I know you're young, Zay, but back in 1943, there was a defense out of. No, I'm just playing. No, Georgia's defense was incredible last year. I just went back and after the season and scoured their numbers, and it was just unbelievable. It was unbelievable. The defense was so good that statistically some of their guys didn't put up big numbers because they weren't playing that many snaps. The number one overall pick, Georgia, the defensive end, he only had this many. Well, he's only playing 20 snaps a game because it's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. So they lost, like you mentioned, a historic amount of talent in the draft. They are my pick to win the East, but I think that loss of talent just drops them a little bit below Alabama for me. Stetson Bennett, I do think he can carry them when they need it. They had some transfers that came in that replenished some of their talent in the skill position. Bennett being an experienced guy, I expect him to execute, not make a lot of mistakes, and I expect him to win the East. But one thing that wasn't mentioned, one of my favorite players is Brock Bowers, the tight end. He was a freshman last year. Kind of reminds me of Travis Kelce, who was a Cleveland Heights alum from my high school back home, and he's just a really special, talented player. Stetson Bennett just throws it anywhere in his general vicinity. He'll make a play for him. He'll just be a sophomore this year, but I expect him to make a lot of plays. But special shout out to Josh Heupel, former
there it is, yeah.
UCF coach in Tennessee. I expect him to be improved, but maybe a notch below Georgia. But like you guys said, Alabama in the West. Just arguably, no offense, arguably the best offensive player in the country with Bryce Young. The best, in my opinion, the best defensive player in the country, and Will Anderson Jr.
Boom.
Who I think would have been the number one pick of the draft last season.
Dark horse Heisman?
He deserves
Charles
it.
Woodson?
He deserves it, and they've already started the campaign. We can help the campaign now. He's just a special, special talent. Again, though, if Alabama's as good as I expect him to be, how many snaps does he play? I'm looking forward to seeing him play on Sunday. So Heisman or not, I expect him to be top 3, if not the first pick in the draft. Depending on who makes that pick. Texas A&M is a talented team, though.
Yes.
They a lot of noise coming out of that region of the country with the draft class,
yeah.
And we mentioned NIL deals and Coach Saban and Jimbo. That was probably the most dramatic moment of this offseason. Their little back and forth, but a lot of times it takes a couple years to see the fruits of those draft classes really come into play, which I think is what you're seeing and what you will see at UCF with all the talent that you guys have. The great years that they had, going back to even like a Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
When I first came down to Orlando, UCF was really establishing themselves, playing really well, and that's when recruits see that, and a guy like Zay at Northwestern says, "Hey, I like what they got going on down there." And a lot of times it takes years to build up that stockpile of talent, and the Alabamas and the Georgias of the world have already been doing that. So that's why I expect Bama. Georgia in the championship. That Texas A&M game, tune into that.
Oh yeah,
that could get nasty and ugly. Should be a lot of fun. But I like Bama to come out of the SEC and definitely absolutely be a playoff team.
And this is the part of the show that I love, because the next 3 conferences, I think we have a lot more parity. I think ACC, SEC this year, very top heavy. I don't expect much at this point, but the Big 12, future home of the Knights, right? I think this is the best conference to watch this year. The conference that it's really, you can make a case for 5 different teams to be Big 12 champs. So we're looking at Baylor. Can they hold off OK State in another rematch? OK State made a run last year, almost took the championship game, but again, almost only counts in horseshoes and mines, right? So, but one thing that I will keep an eye on here, Oklahoma. We have an interest there in seeing, okay, what's Brett Venables going to do? New offensive coordinator, former UCF offensive coordinator, former UCF quarterback. But when you lose Caleb Williams, Lincoln Riley, Spencer Rattler, they all went to La La Land. They're over at USC. I think OK State, Spencer Sanders is the top QB in the Big 12, my pick. I think it's not even close. I think he's the Big 12 Player of the Year. And I think OK State makes some noise. Not a playoff team, but definitely the Big 12 champ. Zach?
Biased opinion, I think the best offensive player in the Big 12 was Dylan Gabriel. And that guy's, I had the opportunity to play him last year a couple times, obviously through the fall camp, but he's special talent, man. His arm is crazy. I think Oklahoma and him, especially being back with his offensive coordinator, hate to see him go, but I think he's going to make some noise this year in the Big 12. But yeah, Baylor's a good team, man. They're explosive team. Got a lot of talent over there on the defense as well. They definitely have. I think they might be the favorite to repeat, in my opinion. A lot of good talent over there. But OK State, man, they gave them the run, and yeah, you never know with that game. It could go. I think it could go either way. Depending on, I don't know where they're playing at this year, but that game is going to be a good one as always, a high scoring. I think Oklahoma State lost a good running back, but I think they got a couple more in the stable that they can they could throw out there. But I'm looking forward to watching that league this year. Like you said, a lot of interesting teams, a lot of explosive offenses. I think it'll be a lot of points, but I think my pick. It's tough to pick one. I don't even know. I'll probably go with Baylor repeating. Is
your cell phone buzzing right now?
Nah.
I think the boys in Norman, Oklahoma are texting you. What's going on?
I think I'm going Baylor. Yeah, I'm going Baylor.
They have to play away at Oklahoma. They got to go to Norman to get that W.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Baylor. I think it'll be a good game, but I like Baylor. I don't know about Oklahoma's. Oklahoma's offense is gonna be really good. Their defense is where they're gonna have to really step up.
Barry, are you high on Baylor as well? Away at West Virginia, away at Oklahoma, and although down year for Texas last year, that's never an easy place to play. Baylor has 3 of the toughest away games in the Big 12.
I'm absolutely clueless on the Big 12. I'm going to just shoot you straight, man. But I had Baylor, Oklahoma State, and Texas as teams that I'm watching. I think Texas, they're going to be like my surprise pick coming out of the Big 12. A little biased now, Arch Manning. I have a great affinity for the Manning family of quarterbackers. And he committed down there to Texas, so I'm going to stake my claim. He'll be there 2023. But at running back, they have Bijou Robinson. They have a talented running back. But really, you look across the Big 12, it's just so much uncertainty. There's big changes, a lot of transfers, new coaches. Just the status quo is no more, which I think is very exciting. It almost has a pro football feel, in that from that respect, where you don't know who's going to win it. So, I think the first couple of weeks of the season will tell a big portion of the story, and I think it's a perfect time for UCF to make that transition, take over that conference, and hit the ground running. I think it's a perfect amount of transition. Everything's in flux, and I'm excited to see what UCF will do starting in 2023. Will be their inaugural season.
Next season.
That's very exciting. So, Big 12, man. I'm not a betting man, thank goodness, because I got nowhere. I'm just gonna upset with Texas. Go Horns.
Let's talk Big 10 football. Now, I think the East is where you're going to get your champion. I think, I'm throwing it out there.
I disagree.
I think Ohio State, C.J. Stroud. I think we're looking at, to be honest with you, in the West, I would even say dark horse. My pick to win the West is Purdue. Favorable schedule. Returning quarterback. I think you have Wisconsin is kind of a rebuild year for them. I think Iowa still needs to find a way to put a little more points on the board. I'll say Ohio State and Purdue in the Big Ten championship. And I mean, Michigan still has some questions at quarterback. Ojabo and Hutchinson are gone. So that's a tough. And then Coach Harbaugh, always a fan of watching him. But we haven't had back-to-back 10-win seasons yet, So I know that. I think Barry will tackle me if I don't lead off with him right now when we're talking Big Ten. Barry, what do you got?
How much time you got?
I love it.
You got coffee? Yeah. No, we're in agreement in the East. I really like Ohio State. Just so much talent. I heard a stat the other day that obviously you think of Michigan as a power, and they're the defending Big Ten champions. They deserve that title. The last skill position first-round draft pick from Michigan was Braylon Edwards.
Wow.
He's older than me.
Wide receiver.
He's older than me for some context. So I think that was the 2005 draft.
Yeah.
In Ohio State, they have 2 top 10 receivers last year? Top 10.
Yes.
And I feel like they put, 3 to 5 guys in the first round, offense alone, skill position alone, every single year. So it gets to a point where when you have that much talent year in and year out, it's just hard to beat that. It's hard to beat that. They're elite at the quarterback position, which is incredibly important in college football and all of football.
Yeah.
But returning their stud QB Stroud, I think is huge. They lost some receivers, but they got more. They got Marvin Harrison. I played against his dad. Another to age me a little bit more. Marvin Harrison Jr. and I don't want to mangle the kid's name. They had one kid that just went nuts in the Rose Bowl. Njiba or something like that. Yeah, you did it for me.
Yeah, ASN.
JSN. Perfect. JSN.
There it is.
Jackson, his first name, I think. Maybe? Yeah. So, they just got stud after stud. And I think the key to it all of them in the East is last year. They lost. Yeah. They got embarrassed. They got embarrassed in that snow against Michigan. That was big time, Big Ten football, the football that – Zay, I know you moved on to greener pastures, but growing up, in Ohio, we used to hope it would snow in October. You hope you can make it to the playoffs in Ohio high school football so you can play under some snowflakes. And that's what that game was. And I was in the airport watching that on my phone, like, what is going on? Like, Ohio State just really got destroyed up front, really got killed in the trenches. And I think they used last year as fuel to go on with their 50 5-star recruits that they have on their team, and I think they win the East. Michigan and Michigan State will have an impact. They'll be heard from. You mentioned Jim Harbaugh. I have a lot of respect for him in that Michigan program. Michigan State, Mel Tucker, their coach, did some great things with them last year. They played a good brand of football, and I'm really excited. I'm a big fan of his. He recruited me back when he was at Ohio State. And I just really think he's an impressive coach. He spent some time at Georgia. He's been around and learned a lot. So I think they will make Ohio State sweat. But, Ohio State is a runaway freight train. And I think they make it to the college football playoff after losing in the Big Ten championship game to the Northwestern Wildcats. No. Don't fall out of your chair. Don't fall out of your chair. Trust me, just hear me out.
Yes.
Northwestern, Zay, you were there in 2019? 2020. Yeah. So 2019, 3-9. Yep. 2020. Yeah, I was there. 2020 Big Ten champs. 2020. No, did you win? Did you guys? No, you guys won in
2020.
You won in 2020.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the next year after that, they go 3-9. Yeah. The year after that, they win the Big Ten again. Yeah. So they've been alternating years.
Yeah, 18, we won the West. 19, bad year. 20,
exactly.
20,
so you missed 18. Okay, yeah. So it starts. So 18, they won. 19, 3-9. 2020, you guys win. Yep. 2021, 3-9. 2022, it's just math. It's just math.
You're right.
It's just math. Northwestern's back. It's their year. We love to be the underdog, coming off a year. Nobody expects anything from us. I expect Pat Fitzgerald, the greatest coach in Northwestern history, the winningest coach in Northwestern history, to get us back where we need to be. Peter Skoronski, offensive lineman, left tackle. It's the best offensive lineman in football. A surefire first-round draft pick. And I think he, along with Coach Fitz and the fuel from all the naysayers like yourself, Guy, I'll add you to the list, will drive Northwestern to that Big Ten West championship. They defeat Ohio State, which propels them to the playoff along with Ohio State in the playoff. And then you have 2 out of your 4 playoff teams right there.
I love it. Well, I'm not a naysayer. I will say this. I'm going to show love to the Wildcats right now. I do believe the Wildcats are going to be in a very prestigious bowl this year, okay? They'll give Harvard and Yale a run at the Brain Bowl when they face Duke this year. When we have Northwestern versus Duke, I do think that is the 2 smartest universities playing each other. Now, wrong field, but showing love. Wildcats, good luck in the Brain Bowl this year. Say?
Oh, man. Now, the Big Ten, Ohio State, pretty much they run the Big Ten. They have for a while now, I say. I played them twice in the Big Ten Championship. Both times, they came out on top. We gave them a run for the money in 2018, my freshman year. I think we were down within a score in the third quarter. But we weren't able to.
Dwayne Haskins at quarterback for them.
Haskins threw for 500 that game.
Yeah, I was in the crowd. We had a chance, man. We were right there.
Yeah, Haskins threw for 500 that game. But yeah, they were loaded, man. Their offense was. They had Haskins, Paris Campbell, Terry McLaurin, Dobbin. They had a lot of NFL talent on that team. But we played them. We played them tough that year. But So from the East, I would say Ohio State. I think Michigan will be good again this year. They're power football like they were last year. Ground game, they got some running backs return. They lost their start running back, but they got some other guys who can run the ball. I don't know what happened in the pass game. I don't think they ever really relied on it anyways, but I think they might need it to beat Ohio State this year. And Michigan State, like Barry was talking about, they were good last year. Obviously, they had the running back. I don't know why I'm going blank right now. He up for the Heisman last year. He's really good, but
was it Walker? I want to say
Walker.
Yeah, he was a stud. He was a transfer. A stud transfer.
Really good, but they played really good football last year. They got a couple good receivers returning, and their defense was good last year too. So they got a chance, to be good in that conference. I don't think they'll be above Ohio State, but I think them and Michigan are kind of fighting for that second tier there. And then in the West, I'm not sure how the Wildcats are going to do this year. I know last year they had a rough season, but like Barry said, you never know. You never know what the Wildcats, you never know what they're going to do. I've been a part of teams like that, and we made it to championship. The same year they're telling us we're going to win 2 games, so you never know over there. I know they got some, their defense is always pretty good. They got some good running backs who I know I play with. I know they've gotten a lot better, and they're ready to go this season. Cam Porter, he didn't play last year there, but he's a good running back who. He's going to come out hungry this year. His junior year, I think he's going to have a good season. Quarterback, I don't know. We'll see what happens there. I think that's a big key component to their season this season. So hopefully they can, make something happen there. But yeah, the rest of the West, I'm not even really sure. I know Iowa's always tough. Wisconsin's always tough defensively. They have to get things going offensively to win and win the conference. I'd say that side of the conference though. Purdue is probably the better offensive team in the West, so they got a shot too. But I'm not sure in the West. If I had to pick, I'd probably say Purdue. Just because their offense is looking really good, and they'll probably have a decent defense as well. But yeah, Ohio State, I think, win the championship, go to the playoffs.
So let's jump into our last conference here. Not least, another extremely, extremely fun conference to talk about. Pac-12. All this insanity of realignment, all that. We're losing some of the steam, I would say, behind. Personally, USC's back, baby. I'm looking at the good old glory days, Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, I'm looking at those days. I'm like, all right, I liked watching football all the way into the next day. So being on the East Coast, I'd love to end the night with a good USC game, Coliseum. We got Lincoln Riley, we got Caleb Williams, we got the star wide receiver out of Pittsburgh, Jordan Addison. Right. On top of that, Oregon, after their insanely tough opening game against Georgia, they actually get a Christmas present. They miss USC, and they have UCLA and Utah at home. Okay? So when we look at this, Oregon maybe, but I love seeing USC when I'm talking about from a schedule standpoint. SC has Notre Dame at home. You're looking at really one extremely tough game. I think Utah away, always a tough game. Dark horse playoff team. If USC can run the table with Caleb Williams, which would not surprise me if he had a Cam Newton type year over at SC, I think they're dark horse playoff team coming out of the Pac-12. What do you think, Barry?
I think you hit the nail on the head with the point that you buried. You buried it. That game at Utah, they lose. That's the game they lose, and that's why I have Utah coming out of the South. USC, I think they'll be a wild card, but it's just so much transition with the new coach and the new quarterback, and trust me, that's a good problem to have when you got a elite coach, elite quarterback, and a stud receiver who won the Blitnikoff last year. So those are good problems to have. You want talent, but I think it'll take maybe a year, maybe 2, for Lincoln Riley to really dig his feet in and start recruiting all those talented skill position players that want to play with him, play for him. And USC, I think they will probably hit their stride right about the time they come over to the Big Ten. Just my luck. They'll sound like Big Ten West team. So make my life hard with my Wildcats. But I'm gonna take Utah. I just think they're a physical, smart, defensive-minded team. So I'm a little bit biased there. So I love the defense that they play. I think they will beat USC in a surprisingly low-scoring game. So for all you gamblers, take the under. And I like Oregon coming out of the North. I like Oregon. They have a new coach. They have 14 returning starters, including all 5 offensive linemen. So, as a defensive lineman, I know how important it is, the game up front in the trenches. And when you got 5 offensive linemen that know each other like that, play well together, tough environment up at Altson Stadium up there in Oregon, I think they come out of the North. So you got an Oregon, Utah, Pac-12 championship game. Utah. Give me Utah.
All right.
Give me Utah. Add that to the list of upsets. Yeah. I like the Utah Utes to come out of not the sexiest pick in the world, but they'll represent the Pac-12. But in this scenario that I envision, I don't see them making the playoff. I got Bama. I got Clemson, Ohio State, Northwestern, so there's no space. There's no space. Yeah. So
I'm shocked that you have Clemson.
So that's that. Those are my thoughts on the Pac-12.
What do you got, Zay?
Yeah, Barry. I think Barry hit on the head with Utah. I think they're going to be a really tough team to beat this year. They got a lot of guys returning, and then, like you said, they're a defensive-minded team. Our defensive team. That was probably one of the best defenses I've got to play since I've been in college. We played them my freshman year in a bowl game. And those guys, they're strong guys out there, and they like to hit. They know how to play some defense over in Utah. And then I think USC, I'm not sure if they'll be a playoff team this year. I think they'll win 9 games plus. But the transition is tough, for any team, I'd say. But they also have potential to go undefeated, in my opinion. They have the talent. They have the coach. They have all that. It's just a matter of them, putting everything together. And they have opportunity to go undefeated. I think Utah's, that's gonna be a tough game for both teams. But I like Utah. Their offense is good too. My boy plays there. I got a running back. He had 20 touchdowns last season. We're both from Dayton, Ohio, actually. Okay. So I'll root for him to have another good year this year.
There it is. You got to get more of the hometown love.
Yeah,
to you,
that's
man.
Right. But then Oregon, they got the transfer from Auburn at quarterback. Can't think of his name right now. Bo Nix. Yeah, I think he's gonna come there hungry, ready to go. And they got a lot of weapons over there for him to utilize, and I think their defense will be good this year. So I think it'll be Oregon, and I'll put Utah in there too. I don't know if I like Utah this year over USC just because of the transition. And then I think Oregon will win that, and I don't think either of them will make the playoffs. I think we're going to have 1-2 losses throughout the season, but I like Oregon versus Utah, and it'll be a tough game, but I like Oregon.
Now, we touched on it a couple of times, so I just want to do a refresher. Seminole County, we partnered with Zay and fellow UCF athletes. We partnered with other athletes as well. Couldn't be prouder of the NIL legislation, what it's doing. I think there's some very interesting NIL deals out there that I love to talk about. And also, at the end of the day, never want to see any coach riff, but from an entertainment standpoint, sitting back and watching Coach Fisher and Coach Saban go at it when there's no football to be seen, hey, there's some entertainment value there for a little something other than just summer baseball. So NIL, I want to talk about a couple of deals here that I absolutely love. We know the Braves jumped into the NIL baseball-wise. We know Florida Panthers are signing NIL deals. American top teams signing NIL deals. Drew Timme, the basketball player out of Gonzaga, possibly one of my favorite NIL deals. Handlebar mustache, one of my favorite ones, signed an NIL deal with Dollar Shave Club. So Drew Timme, and of course, my boy that we've named him a bunch this show, Kool-Aid McKinstry, signing with Kool-Aid. I would say those are my 2 favorite NIL deals. Zay, what are some of the NIL deals, 1 or 2 deals that you've heard that, wow, Hold on, what's going on here?
I wish I could say it's myself. Last name Bowser, signing with Nintendo or something like that. But I unfortunately haven't done that yet. So hopefully that comes around. But one of my favorite ones I've heard of is the running back out of Texas, Bijan. He has signed a Lamborghini deal, which I think is pretty crazy, driving a Lamborghini around in college. But that was the one I heard about. I was like, okay, well, this is kind of some next level stuff. But yeah, that's one of them I think is pretty crazy. The Texas running back deal, yeah.
Barry, talk to me from a business owner standpoint, and then take that hat off. Talk to me from a former player standpoint. What NIL would have done for you and some of your teammates?
From a business perspective, I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting. We had, in Seminole County, we had I can't think of their name right now. The twins from Seminole that I mentioned.
Henderson twins.
The Henderson twins. Are they down there training with you guys already? Just, the thought of having guys like that, in a D1 hat, and maybe not Nike. I'll give them some of the cheaper D1 gear. But, having them representing D1. And there's also the Harris twins out of Lake Brantley High School. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they recently committed to UCF, right?
Yeah, committed.
So they got two sets of, pairs of twins.
Twin U.
Yeah, exactly. Both from Seminole County, right in our backyard. Making the community proud. Guys like that, it's just a no-brainer to have them over at D1 at our facility. With the training that we offer. That it just makes a ton of sense. And I've talked to other local business owners who feel the same way. We feel like we might as well. Kids in college, to the thought of rewarding them is a good thought. Having them giving them a chance to make some money, not overly time committed, so they can still focus on school, still focus on sports, and it just works both ways. No one's being forced either way. There's agents and stuff like that, and I think the schools, correct me if I'm wrong, Zay, are there to help and provide support to kind of make sure that these kids are getting in the proper deals and handling the situation properly. So I think it's exciting from that perspective. As a former player, I was born too early. I was born too early, man. I think it would have been an awesome opportunity. I played in the days where guys were getting in trouble for everything, getting tattoos, getting kicked off the team. We had guys at our school that had got their teeth whitened, got suspended. I mean, the stories go on and on about taking any little bump, any little perk. Extra perk. That's the word I was looking for. That you got was deemed a violation. And it could cost you millions of dollars in draft positioning, and it could cost your team, and really let your you're letting people around you down just from taking the simplest thing. So to see where we've gone now, again, there's gonna be a lot of old men screaming at kids to get off their lawn who don't like it, and this is NCAA and they're amateurs and blah blah blah. But when the coaches are making $10 million a year and the schools are raking in millions, if not billions, across the whole NCAA landscape, I think it makes sense to allow they're not sharing that money. With the kids. The kids are going out. The kids are going out just now. They're just saying, hey, you can't have any of our money, but we'll allow you to go out and make your own. You go sign with these companies, these local businesses or national businesses, and use your own name, image, and likeness. Just the name of it there says a lot. So I think it's very exciting. It was a natural progression, and I'm very happy to see guys like Zay getting these opportunities.
Perfect. And all our NIL deals are in the Do Orlando North YouTube page. We have Zay, we have athletes from FIU, FAU, Georgia, bunch of different UCF athletes across all sports, looking to do even more content, continuing to double down. We know that in Seminole County, we pride ourselves on being the sports capital of the entire state. So very happy to continue that. Zay, love seeing you here. Now, easy transition. We're in the Huvi studios right now. Esports, NIL. Zay, what are some of the games here in the Huvi studios? I mean, you see all the computers set up. We got Smash here. We got 2K, Madden, FIFA. If you want to join a tournament, it's right here at Huvi. If you're looking to join a team, if you're looking to come in and step your game up, get better at your game, you come to Huvi Studios here in Oviedo Mall in beautiful Seminole County, Florida. Zay, what are some of the top games? What esports get you going?
So for me personally, I'm a big Madden 2K guy. I like the sports games, UFC. I like that game too. But here in Huvi, I got to do a deal in Orlando North, so I got to come here and play a couple games. And where we're sitting right now is a virtual game where we play laser tag, and it's actually really crazy. Like you put the headset on, and it really looks like you're in an arena, full, like actually playing laser tag, like you're at somewhere like an actual laser tag place. It's really crazy. A lot of fun. And I got to do a box blaster, and there's a roller coaster machine. There's all types of fun stuff here at Huvi that I was able to do. My favorite thing is probably the roller coaster, and it felt real. I'm a big roller coaster fan, and like going up the hills, going down the hills, it feels like you're actually on the roller coaster. That was probably my favorite thing here at Huvi that I've got to do.
Barry, esports. Does that are you able with all the family to get locked into some games?
I'm looking at it, as a parent, and my kids love gaming. Nowadays, kids don't even talk to each other on the phone; they talk to each other through the games. Yeah. So as a parent, you might as well embrace it and learn it, or just get left behind. So that's kind of where I am. My kids love Madden. They play the show, the Major League Baseball game, NBA 2K, 22, 23, whatever. They play it all. Yeah. My youngest, he'll go play 2K16 and 2K18. He'll quiz me on the stats of the guy. Like, I don't know, man. But it's, I think it's just this Huvi, this establishment. It reminds me a lot of D1. Yeah. When we started, because a lot of people would walk in and say, I didn't know this was here. This is amazing. This is beautiful. And that's exactly how I felt when I walked in. This is my first time here. I didn't realize it was here, and I walked in. I was immediately impressed. I look around, and I just think from a parent's perspective, you can have your kid in a place like this where they're safe, out of trouble. There's people, obviously they have employees here that are watching over things, and just an environment that I can see my kids spending a lot of hours and a lot of money. Good for you. Good for the people here at Huvi. So it's just an exciting frontier, the whole esports world. And I got to brush up on my gaming. Got to brush up so I can get in here and compete, man. I can't get in here and get embarrassed. Have some 12-year-old talking trash to me.
A D1 esports team in the future.
Hey, listen, I'm ready. I'm ready. Captained by Isaiah Bowser.
There it is.
And his NIL deal that he'll receive through Nintendo here.
There it is.
Very soon. So I'm excited and very thankful to the people here at Huvi for having us.
I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us in our pilot episode of Game On series. This is the college football preview. We'll be releasing these series about every single month. Be on the lookout for the World Cup episode. Be on the lookout for the NBA episode, NFL episode. We'll always have great panelists with us right here in the Huvi studios. I want to thank Barry. Thank you so much for joining us. D1 Orlando, make sure you guys, if you're looking to train, the best training in all of Florida right here with Barry Cofield at D1 Orlando. And of course, my favorite college football player, favorite running back right now, Isaiah Bowser. You see a ton of the videos and everything we did to him. We've done with him all these different NIL deals. Zay, thank you so much. Again, good luck this season. Wish all the health for you guys. And then we'll be watching. Yeah.
Sir.
Perfect. Like, subscribe. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.